Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another beautiful segment with us on Live with Lloyd. I am your host, astronumerologist Lloyd Strayhorn. And as you see on the screen, I have a very distinguished guest from the West Coast of all places that's going to tell us what he does. Although I have the word under his name, Cardologer, he does a whole lot more than that. And it's so interesting. Some of my best interviews actually is before I actually come on. But at any rate, though, I'm going to bring him on in just a couple of minutes. I do want to thank everybody for joining us this evening. And here we go. There we go, everybody. Before we start, I always do the forecast. And okay, so this is the forecast for today. All righty. Live with Lloyd, where the joy of numerology is the joy of learning and enlightenment. Please like, share, and subscribe. If I don't have this or read this, I will forget. And I've been doing this over a year. But hey, I told you the kind of numbers I'm looking for, the numbers that raise people's consciousness and awareness. But if you like it, please make it known. If you want to share it, that's so important because I try to have a lot of variety of guests on that kind of touch all aspects of our diaspora. And please subscribe so that way you know what's going on. But at any rate, to get to the heart of it, this is Monday, okay? And it is the 19th. The sun is in Virgo, although this time next week it'll be in another sign. But right now, the moon is in Cancer. Mercury is retrograde until the 2nd of October. They started on the 9th, 10th, all depending on what area of the world you live in. Of earlier this month, it's a 6 universal month, a 9 universal week, a 7 universal day. So for those that are under Leo, Aquarius, Aries, Cancer, or if you're born on the 1st, the 7th, the 10th, the 16th, the 19th, the 25th, or the 28th of the month, this should be a very significant time for you. Alrighty, so without further ado, let me get this off the screen. And then I'm going to bring on my very distinguished guest. And let me tell you, I enjoyed our conversations, and I think you will too. I think you're going to find them just as fascinating as I was. And so, without further ado, here we go. And let me see. Oh,
there
there you go. There we go.
we go. There we go. There
Hey,
we go.
Dwann, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. How you doing today?
I am fine. Question: what part of California are you in?
Los Angeles, California, born and raised. One of
I
the
heard
few
it.
people actually born and raised here.
Well, that's what I was going to say because most people become imported into LA.
Yeah, I'm rare. My parents are both born here, my mom and my dad. And my grandparents also, they came here really early and they met at Jefferson High School. My grandparents on my mom's side, my great grandparents. And so I'm in LA for like about 100 years. Very rare for black folks.
So, in other words, you're official.
Official. Yeah, we saw the train tracks get laid, then pull right back up.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
people don't know about LA. The reason why LA is such a car city is because we used to have ferries and we used to have trains going down the road. But in the 50s, the Ford Motor Company and General Motors came to LA and said, "Hey, we want cars to be featured in your city." And so they stripped up all of the cars and everything, the street cars. And so, yeah, that's why it's so many cars in LA and very few trains.
That's interesting. I didn't know just that little brief history because it's assumed that if you're on the West Coast, especially LA, that if you don't have a car, what are you talking about? Because you definitely ain't gonna do no walking, not unless you walk into the house to the car and to the car to the mall and back. But that's about the only walking. Um, I see. I've never been to LA per se, although I've been invited a couple of times. But then I hear some of it is very plastic. It's a Hollywood. A lot of people fake it. Do you find that to be your experience?
No, LA is a very real city. See, Hollywood and LA are two different things. Two different entities totally. Usually, when
It-
you're dealing with when you're dealing with the Hollywood scene, you're dealing with people who moved here with high hopes and dreams, and they're 10 years in, those dreams didn't get met, so they become very bitter and angry. And then new people who move here go across those people, and they think that's LA. No, LA, south of the 10 freeway, South Central, where I was born and raised, is very real. Say what you mean what you say, and whatever you say you are, be that. because if you're not, if they people sense phoniness and fakeness, they won't take you serious. It's a very
Okay.
real city when you get south of the 10 freeway.
Good. So that way, when I come to LA, I'm gonna come and visit you, so I'll know what's going on. Okay.
That's real
Keep
talk.
keep it real. You were once in the system. You said. Can you explain?
Well, I worked in the system.
Yes.
I
Work
worked.
in the system.
Yeah, I worked mental health. I worked for a company here in LA that was named. It was called Hathaway Sycamores, and they were a mental health agency. And my area was Spa Six. Spa Six is basically downtown to the north, Compton to the south, and the jungles to the west. For those of you who know LA, I just named projects and projects and projects. So I was always in the projects. I was always working with children, and I was working mental health and helping families with their communication, teaching parents how to interact better with their children, teaching the children who were in the system, usually through the special education system, helping them get resources from the district, and also the children who didn't belong there, getting them out of the special education system and putting them back into regular classes, because the special education system is where they send our young children, especially boys, off to get mentally drained. To cause menticide basically on our children. And so that's where 10 years experience working in the middle of South Central LA in these conditions, really changed me in a lot of ways and opened me up to things like cardology and numerology and stuff, because I had to figure out, hey, there's something more going on with this. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
because I you,
go
you
ahead.
you had said that you once said on a that not said on a panel, but I think you heard a documentary of where Dr. Umar, because Dr. Umar that I had on my show several Mondays ago talked about special ed. And over the years, I heard about this special ed, but I didn't pay much attention. I didn't know. And he says the drugs that you get, Ritalin, he named about 4 or 5 different drugs that are applied to young black boys. He says there's nothing but crack and whatnot.
Mhm.
So he was just on it about the purpose. And so some people got sidetracked when they watched the show. I do understand that. But my thing was about, why are our young boys being medicated? Why are they placed or labeled special education, behavioral problems, things of that nature? Because it must be frustrating, and not understanding that the government matches each child that's labeled that with $5,000, at least here in New York City.
Yeah, that's what I was saying when I was first started out there. I had been working in South Central like as a volunteer tutor, volunteer basketball coach. I had been doing it since 1995 from that more voluntary angle. In 2009 is when I jumped into it more so in business, and I started to get involved and engulfed in what was going on. And what I saw was, it seemed like every time we would have interventions and things that could help with these families, we would counsel them, we would get them communicating on the right way. Then all of a sudden, they want to bring drugs into the equation. And when I noticed when I first started the job in 2009 to 2013, it was less drugs. They still had the drugs, but when that Affordable Health Care Act money came through and the money got real big in mental health, I would have children who, I would get to be able to settle them down. But then my company went from, okay, we would spend sometimes 2 years to get a child back mentally, and to get the family to communicate right and everything. And it went from us being able to have a family for a year, 2 years to get them right, to after 6 months, what's the problem? And if it ain't all the way fixed, give them some drugs. And it was like the answer to everything was drugs, drugs, drugs. And you would see these little precious young men and women, my little babies would come, they would be so jovial around me. And I would teach them how to use that energy or at recess and sit down and be calm for class. But
Mm-hmm.
but the school system was like, no, and they would pressure parents, basically lie to parents and say things like, well, if you don't put your kids on drugs, you can be held liable if they do something to another child. So they suggest that they really push drugs. And I had gotten to the point to where I was getting ready to have a nervous breakdown December 2014. And then I saw Hidden Colors, and I saw this other documentary called Elementary Genocide. And both of those, Umar was in that. Dr. Phil Valentine talked about some of this stuff. Dr. Francis Cress Welsing. I got to hear them talk about the school system and the special education system. And when I heard them talk, it was like they were at my job every day. There had been, I would tell people these stories, no one could relate. It wasn't until I heard them speak about the special education system that someone finally saw what I was seeing the whole time. And they really do target our children. And they do things like they make it easy. They say, hey, if you put your child in this non-public school, we'll give him door-to-door access. We'll pick you up in front of the house, drop him right off. You won't have to worry about your child going through this dangerous neighborhood. And then they get this kid who got put into a non-public school because of a fight. Now he's on drugs. Now he's with these other kids who truly do belong in that school. And he starts to take on those behaviors. Let's see, you know, you look up 3 or 4 years later, your child is gone. And it's a system that told you to do this. And now your child is somewhere he doesn't have the mental functioning to function properly in society. That's because of the special education system that purposely dumbed him down because they want him to go to jail. And it's just a whole thing, you know. And it's if you don't know what's going on, it'll send you into real depression. It really will.
And notice you're on the West Coast, and this
Yes,
is here on the East Coast.
yes,
So this is not something random or isolated, I would say.
yes. And that's what made me really realize. I said, this guy Umar says he's in Philadelphia. Dr. Welsing is in Washington, D.C. Dr. Valentine's in New York. I'm in L.A. And when I hear them talk, I'm like, I'm 3,000 miles away from all of them, and we're telling the same story. You know, so people have their personalities, whatever, and I get it. You know what I mean? But
Yeah,
when
yeah.
you have a message, like I have a quote that I end all of my shows with, and the quote is this: "There are no perfect messengers, only perfect messages for those willing to pick up the game." So you're not going to ever have the perfect messenger. You're going to find one guy's ear is going to be bigger than the other ear. There's going to be something wrong with
Yeah,
everybody.
something. Yeah.
But if they have that message that's going to do something to help liberate your mind and liberate your soul, liberate your spirit, you gotta follow that message.
Well, let me tell you this. What's interesting is all of that led you into the study of cardology, which we're going to share with. I guess with cardology, they give their name, their birthday, or a question, or whatever the case is. But you actually said because of working within the system and being so stressed to the point that cardology wound up being a savior. How did you back up into something that's now a passion?
For me, I tried a few things because, like a lot of people in the 90s and the 2000s, I was really in the church. And if you came to me saying cardology, numerology, I would have said, "Get away from me, you heathen." You
My aunt
know,
is that.
yeah, get away, heathen. I don't want Jesus is everything, and I don't want to hear about a number. Numbers are
Yeah,
just
there's no
math.
wiggle room. There's no wiggle room.
Yeah,
So what
so
happened to you then? What converted you then, if that's the case?
because I played the drums in church, and what it was, whatever I do, I've always been committed to it all the way.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was in church, I was really committed my whole life. I played the drums in church until the age of 33. I'm not, even through my 20s, I was so committed. Where when I was in college, I say locally, I would I would be leaving the college parties, the frat parties at 5 a.m. and rushing to church with the wristband still on my wrist from the college frat party to play the drums at 8 in the morning on Sunday. I was committed. But I asked myself, I have one particular principle, and that is anything that's worth believing can stand the questioning. And if this thing that I'm believing in, if it really is something worth believing in, it can stand to whatever questions I have. Like math can stand to questioning. You can
Mm-hmm.
question number 4 all you want, but 4 is gonna be 4.
Yeah,
You-
yeah. Bottom line.
Bottom line. And so I started to question things, and I started to disengage and sort of back away from the church to really not, and I'm not to crap on the church for the Christians out there, because there are principles within the church that you learn that you can use the rest of your life. I get it. But I
Mm-hmm.
knew that there was more. So I would watch I found Brother Rich Black Magic 363. I found his YouTube channel like in 2012, 13, and he would keep bringing on people. And and I first started listening to astrology. My wife was really into astrology and numerology. My wife's dad was really into numerology, and he read some things about me and my birthday. I'm like, hey, how'd you know that? And then from there, literally the day after he did that, I saw you and King Simon about a week apart, and
Mm-hmm.
I ordered his book, and I ordered your book that same day, and I've had a copy of Numbers and You ever since. And and I liked it, and it made sense. But it didn't. It made sense. Astrology made sense. But then I found out about cardology, and that just tickled me. It did something in my spirit. Said that's it. So I started buying a whole bunch of books on cardology and learning to read the cards. And I self-studied for a long time. And then I enrolled in a certification course from Aquarius Maximus. And so, so learning in the books, and I said, okay, I really want to get this solid. I was reading myself, reading my family. You really learn the stuff reading yourself. That's really at the end of the day, that's all it's about, whether it be cardology, numerology. It's all about studying yourself. And through studying yourself, you get a really good understanding of the world around you and how these things work. And so when I saw Aquarius was offering a class, I said, okay, I'm taking that class. And that's what ever since our class, it was like almost like from the first day, everything that I had been reading and studying up to that point, it's almost like it came out of my genetic memory. It just made sense.
Well, wait till you meet her mother, Nina Diamond,
Yeah.
or Diamond 8. She has one of the most successful clubhouse rooms in Clubhouse, and they got thousands and thousands of different rooms. But I think her class ranks in the top 5 of all of the classes throughout Clubhouse. And
Wow.
she does it every morning from about 9 up until 11 or 12 or something like that. So one day I got to hook you two up. But that is Aquarius Maximus' mother.
Yeah, she's great. I saw you interviewed her. What was it, last December, I think, or something like that?
Yep, and just about 2 weeks ago, her and Jackie Levine, because they're putting together a workshop that they're doing now with
Okay.
combined cardology and astrology. Let me ask you this though. So, since you are a cardologist, what is your suit? What are you?
I'm a king of clubs.
And
That's the
what does
master.
that mean?
That's the master teacher. It made sense when I saw that was my car. Malcolm X is also a king of clubs. Queen Elizabeth, she was a king of clubs, although she didn't talk much. But
Mm-hmm.
the master teacher, we're here to speak, and we're here to speak with authority and integrity. One thing about the king of clubs, and it made sense when I read it. My father's a king of clubs too. We're both. It's funny, we're both king of clubs. He's a king of club Pisces. I'm a king of
Mm-hmm.
club Gemini,
Mm-hmm.
and it's something about when we speak, we have a certain moral and ethical boundary that we can speak within. Like a king of clubs can't really go outside their ethics. If you do, you don't feel right and things happen. And I always say it's probably part of the reason why the Queen of England didn't speak that much, because you want to make sure that when you're speaking in enlightenment, you're speaking empowerment, you're speaking education. You're helping to uplift. And
Mm-hmm.
if the king of clubs is using that power and staying within that power, they're going to have very blessed lives. But if they step outside of that power and start talking a bunch of nonsense, it can be moral consequences that they're setting themselves up to face.
So, Dwann, you're saying that basically you're self-taught, other than reading books and then signing on to Aquarius Maximus course?
Yeah, self-taught, but I got to give Aquarius Maximus a lot of credit because she makes it make sense. She puts it together, and it was kind of certain things that there were a lot of things that I intuit most of it, honestly. It's intuitive for me. Like
Mm-hmm.
when I sit down and read a card spread, the card spread tells me a story. And I have my knowledge of numbers and suites, but for the most part, each individual's card jumps off the screen and just tells me what to say. I just feel it. And when I took her class, it made it make sense. you know, like, oh, okay. That's what So it's like, okay, there is. I'm not just
Yeah,
because
yeah.
sometimes your customers, they respond, and and you feel it, but you when you're doing it, you just flowing. You just It's a
Let
flow
me ask
state
you
thing.
this: what is your wife's suit then?
My wife,
Yeah.
she's a 4 diamonds, and our composite relationship is a 4 hearts, and that's our when I decoded our relationship, because my wife and I, we have so much love in our home, and she's the reason why I even wrote my book, because her telling me that the way I communicate and how well I treat her and how well we treat each other. She would always tell me more people want this, so you should write a book. And
That sounds incredibly simple, what you just said, my friend. That
it
sounds
does sound.
amazingly simple. It doesn't seem to have any complexity to it at all. It's just showing each other love and respect for each other. Or
It's
am I missing something?
it's really because when you read a composite card is the first composite card in any relationship is the communication. And when I'm reading relationship composites, oftentimes I can tell from that first card where everything else is going to go after that, because communication is number one. Think about it in astrology. What's the first planet from the sun? Is Mercury. Mercury rules communication. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So what does that tell you?
Hmm.
Communication is first.
Hmm.
Everything requires communication. When countries go to war against each other, what's the first thing they do? They disrupt the other country's lines of communication before they drop any bomb.
Yeah, they'll shut all that down or control it, if nothing
Yes.
else.
So if you can't talk to one another, if you missing each other, because oftentimes people have the right intentions, they know what they want to say, they know what they want to get out, but they don't know how to express it. Or they may know how to express it, but they may not know how to express it in their partner's love language. Everybody has their way of receiving. We all give information a certain way, but we also have a certain way of receiving information. And if you're missing each other, everything else down the line you can forget about. You got to communicate right if you want everything else to work. And when I found out in cards I can read that, I said, "Oh, I gotta learn this." Because all of my years working in my company Breakthrough, doing mental health and the relationship counseling, you spend months really getting down to the nitty gritty. Because when people come in for regular counseling, oftentimes when you get to that point, and this isn't a judgment, this is how we act as humans, we tell ourselves stories. We tend to lie to ourselves. So through lying to ourselves, when you come to somebody like me for help, you can tend to lie to me. Not that you're intentionally trying to lie to me, but
But
some
it's just
people want
a habit.
it's a habit because you haven't been telling yourself the truth. And then you have other people who some people just want to appear a certain way. So you can be going through counseling 2 or 3 months to finally get down to the truth. And I can't fix anything without the truth.
Right.
And
Makes
so, yeah. And so when I got into the cards, it was like, you mean to tell me I can get rid of this 2 or 3 months? Because do I like getting that money every week? Yes, I like getting that money every week from these clients. But I ain't trying to make nobody broke. I want to come in and fix it and get out. You know what I
and
mean?
keep it
Because
moving.
because you can have all the good communication if you want. If the finances ain't right, it's gonna be a problem. And I ain't trying to be the person in the middle of your finances like that. So when I realized I can read the communication styles through the cards, man, it allowed me to use the cards to get down to what's really going on, get down into that moon sign, because that moon is what you really are. The sun is what you show
Yeah.
everybody else. The moon
Yeah.
is who you are.
Knows how you thinking, boy. Deep
Yeah.
down.
It's down deep up in there, and then Pluto show you challenges, so I can get right into that. And then I can start applying my 25 plus years experience working with families and solving these communication problems. But the cards get me to the truth. And once I'm at the truth, we can then apply tangible solutions that you're going to see work
I think
or
that's
not work.
absolutely amazing. I think that's amazing. So your art skill over and above what your expertise is about blending communications, making sure that whether they're partners, lovers, neighbors, brothers or sisters, whatever, because it's not just sometimes misunderstanding between loved ones, but family members, co-workers, neighbors, so and then when it comes full blown and then we read about in the paper when it comes explosive, that's something, but it's just simply an art of communicating, which
It
you've
is.
mastered.
And for that, like I have, not only do I have the years of work experience, for those people who are in the technical side of it, I also have the college degree to back it. my bachelor's is in communication studies, and my minor was in anthropology, basically cultural anthropology, knowing how different cultures communicate. So I have a lot of formal training,
Mm-hmm.
um, college level training in communication, and so and then also again I'm a Gemini, planet as communication.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
Mercury ruled, that's communication.
yep.
I'm a king of clubs, that's communication. So even when you
You
go through
just
my
following
chart,
your path.
yeah, that's what it is. I'm following my path. And when I'm talking to people or I'm listening to a couple talk or I'm listening to a father talk about their son or a daughter talk about their mom, just through them talking naturally, I'm already hearing where the issues are. I listen to mom talk, I listen to the daughter talk, I listen to husband talk, listen to wife talk, and through talking, naturally, I'm already picking up on the problem, and that's a natural God-given ability that I can then use my education level of ability to technically address scientifically, and then I can pull out the cards and really get down to the nitty gritty esoterically.
In other
So I
words,
apply it
into
all.
the physical side of things.
Yes, we got to apply them as above, so below, law of correspondence. We got to connect the spiritual with the physical because it's all one. You know what I mean? We tend to look at things as the hard sciences over here, the metaphysical sciences over there, when really they're just aspects of explaining the same thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree. We're going to open up the phone. I mean, the comments, because there's a lot now. Do you need anything, or do they just? What happens if they just give a name and not a birthday? Can you read them too like that?
I can read a name. I prefer the birthday so I can get down to it. But I can also read names, but birthday works.
Okay, good. Because we're going to open up. It says, now this is weird. This is not a question I would answer for most people. Um, they says the person says, "Let me know if you see death in my future." Well, I can predict in everybody's future there's going to be death.
Oh yeah.
Just
I
when?
yeah. I what I can predict is I can guarantee you will die.
Yeah,
That's
that's guaranteed. No one leave this planet alive. Okay.
yeah. Ask Marvin Gaye. You know what I mean? It's at some point what's going on. It's gonna happen. So you can guarantee that. Death
I
is
got
one of
out the
those.
way because we don't do readings on death. So I just wanted to make that
Yeah.
clear, and so is my moderator. Thanks so much, Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes like I'll go back and someone will pass away, and I've done readings on my show where I can go back in the past, and like I did a reading just recently on Kobe Bryant and Michael
Mm-hmm,
Jackson, and I
mm-hmm.
was able to point
Both
out where
shows, August 20. Well, Kobe Brown was August 23rd. Jackson was August 29th.
yes, 10 of diamonds and Michael Jackson's was it 10 of diamonds, 10 of hearts. I'm dyslexic sometimes, blah. But Kobe
Mm-hmm,
was a three, and Kobe's was a three of clubs, and I was able to see where a certain particular card showed up in their peak, and so I do. There are certain cards where when I go back and read, when I see that particular card come up, it's like okay, I see what happened. But it's nothing I'd like to ever go to and think about and do in the future. Now I stay away from that. I like solving problems while we're here. That's why I use the cards.
Good, good. So I do want to say a special thanks to the Williams family, Stephen Williams and his wife out in Chicago. Every month, they every week they always show support, and I really appreciate that. Let's say, okay, I'm looking for birthdays now. Peace and blessings, Elizabeth and strength. Okay, um, let's see. Okay, I have somebody here. The name is Charlene Adams. They're born October the 10th of 1964. So everything reads 10, 10, 10 across the board because 64 has the 10. And she would like a general reading. So what say you, Dwann, about this person? What card is she anyway?
Oh, she's a queen of clubs. She's a teacher. She's a mother. She's motherly. Um, yeah, that queen. One thing I find about the queen of clubs is they tend to work better with women than they do men. Um, uh, and it's funny how you'll see the energy of a card, on one sex kind of play out differently than another sex. But with
Mm-hmm.
women, it's really about that they really know how to they can do different things. You know what I mean? But really, when it comes down to it, teaching is what it is. That she's the mother of higher knowledge, and she channels, I'm sure, and she gets information, and she's able to communicate that information very clearly to the people that are around them in a succinct, orderly fashion. Um, they have one thing about them. She has a very gentle heart, very sensitive, and but the issue is oftentimes, they tend to shield that sensitivity in a rough air, in a rough exterior. you
Mm-hmm,
know, but you really are soft as putty. You really are motherly. You really are nurturing when you get past whatever hardships of life's traumas that have come your way. Because like we all have our son card, we all our way, but we've had our experiences that at some point gotten us either off our path or more on our path. And one thing about the cards can remind you where that path is. And also with the cards, you're living out your cards. Everyone has 13 cards. And in different areas of your life, in different times in your life, you're living out different cards in your life. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
so I was going to ask about that because the cards, if they're from ace to down to two, that's a total of 13 cards.
Mm-hmm.
That be correct? So
Yeah.
you're telling me every 13 years in a person's life progression, there will be changes or introductions to different forms of experiences? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's like 0 to 13. You're in your Mercury years. Those are the early years. You're learning how to communicate. You're living out that card. And to say if you're young and you have a high card like a King of Clubs or something like that in your Mercury, you probably were a child that was challenged with a lot of responsibility young. You
Mm-hmm.
know, those are things I can tell. And then you get to your Venus years, when you from 13 to 26, your Mars years 26 to 20, 39, so on and so forth. Um, and so you what you're doing in each 13-year cycle, you're living that card out over that. But we can also break it down even further into 7-year cycles and 1-year cycles, and then 7-week cycles and 1-week cycles. So it's a lot of different things playing at the same time. But when I'm doing a reading and someone wants to know what's next, usually I keep it down to about 13 to the next 7 years, to that 7-year spread.
Okay, now we got this person here, James Stewart. They're born November the 12th of 82.
They're born November 12th, 1982. See, I don't. Oh yeah, they are an 8 of clubs. 8 of clubs, right there. That's one of those cards right there where they have a lot. They have a lot. They have a strong ability to overcome obstacles. Very, very, very strong ability to overcome obstacles. So when they may face a lot of challenges as 8 of clubs, but in the challenges, but the biggest challenges are usually mental. With them being a clubs person, they can get in their own way, get in their own head. And the challenges can be way bigger than the challenges are not as big as you perceive, brother, if you're 8 of clubs. Whatever you're thinking in your head, attack that challenge, go
Becomes
through it.
huge, huh?
Yes, and use your intuition. You're also highly intuitive. Your intuition is going to tell you exactly what to do. But then being an 8 of clubs, your mental, you're going to go right in. You'll get the solution, and then it'll be followed by self-doubt. And you'll listen to the self-doubt. You got to go with the solution and follow it with all your strength. You got to challenge it. You gotta channel your strength, and whatever challenges you face, hit those challenges blunt and directly.
Before we go any further, can you just describe briefly what diamonds mean, clubs, spades, and hearts?
Okay, when it comes down to it, they all represent different things. Your hearts represent the spring season of life, and your youthfulness. When you're a child. Your clubs is summer season. That's more your teenage years, your adolescence, your communication. Hearts are more emotion. The diamonds are more as you get into your adulthood in life. That's the mature suite. That's
Mm-hmm.
the one that's more refinement here. And then you get to your spade suite, which is more wisdom and spiritual knowledge. And
Mm-hmm.
also, so when it comes down to each suite represents something about your life, um, that you're here to experience. As a diamond, you're here to experience a lot of your physical. You're here to manifest physically. You're spiritual, but your spirituality is going to, especially like if you're a 4 of diamonds, you're going to bring in, like, you know how to manifest now. When you create it in your mind and you see it and you stick to it, you can bring that stuff here in the current realm. It's
Well,
not just an esoteric thing; it's a physical thing for you too.
I'm going to be selfish a moment. I am a nine of diamond. What does that mean?
Mhm. You have a lot of nine of diamonds. That's a lot of challenge that that's a very high challenge to meet. And I can tell you right now, just before I even get into the cards, based on what you've taught me personally and the rest of the world, I think you've done a pretty good job, man. Because that's just not even reading the cards. That's just telling you your effect on me and people like me with the way you break down numbers and explain things. So I'm here to tell you, just from the observational point of view, you've done well because you really have impacted people. But as a nine of diamond, you really have to trust the universal flow. It's you're someone who can sometimes get in your own way and outthink yourself. So you got to know how to relax and let go as a nine of diamonds person. And as you relax and let go and allow life to flow through you, you're going to flow through others and teach and spread what you have to spread. Um, you're very sharp intellectually. Um, you're a really good leader, and the reason why you're a good leader is because you are a good listener as a nine of diamonds. Now oftentimes people can, like, there's a high vibration to everything and a low vibration to everything. So there's someone else out there who's a nine of diamonds who may be thinking, I'm not a good listener. Let me tell you, you are naturally a good listener, but sometimes people can, because of their experiences or whatever, they can choose to turn things up or turn things down. But
Mm-hmm,
if a
mm-hmm,
nine of diamonds allows themselves to relax, they are good listeners, and you pick up on the key information that needs to be picked up on to move forward. You also have that King of Clubs in your Mars, and so that's right there. It
that's you.
shows you, yeah, you got a King of Clubs in your Mars.
Yeah.
So that King of Clubs brings you a certain authority to when you speak. You know, the King of Clubs has an authority when they speak, and with yours being in Mars, when you do speak on what you speak on, there's a certain authority and essence to where when you speak, people feel it, people believe it, and people love you for it.
Mm-hmm,
So when you speak the way you speak, as engaging as you are, Mr. Strayhorn, you just living out your cards, but you're living out your cards on a very high level.
mm-hmm,
Um, you're attracted to people that you can sort of share philosophy with. You like to talk. You like to what they say on the streets, philosophize, as they say.
I
You
have done
like,
that. I have definitely done that. There's no question. And you know what's also interesting? I've often told people on occasions, I have to learn how to get out of my way, which is the one of the first things you said. And so that's my whole point. That's why I need like a second pair of eyes, second pair of ears, because sometimes I can be so focused or whatever that I need to just back up, get out of my way, and let things move or flow.
yeah,
Say.
it's almost like if we could just cut your foot off so you stop walking in your way, you'll be fine. But we can't cut your foot off. Dude, chill. When I see a 99 person, my first thing I say is chill, calm down, calm down. You're
Well,
fine.
I do have intense moments, so thank you. I'll take a page from that. Okay. So let's go to the next one. Thanks so much for that.
No problem.
Lillian Hayes, she is born November 19th. She says, is retrograde in effect or am I living wrong? No, you're not living wrong. It is definitely in effect until the 2nd of October. But what do you have to say for this person born November 19th?
What's their year?
1956.
November 19th. Oh, they are an ace of clubs. That's the when see when we do cards, they go in order ace through 13.
Mm-hmm,
I'm sorry, ace through king.
mm-hmm,
And the aces represent youth, young approach. They got to approach things mentally because they're clubs. So that's telling me it's mental. They got to approach life, open and mentally, like the same way a child approaches school. You know how it is when children first go to pre-kindergarten, they're happy to go, they can't wait to go learn. but by the time they get to the 5th grade, they're like, I hate school. You know, the ace
Mm-hmm.
of clubs is that first day of school where you're anticipating learning, you're anticipating understanding something, you're anticipating, you look for new information. It's like, what am I? So as an ace of clubs, you got to maintain that youthfulness to your approach in life. Always be a seeker of new information. Always be someone that's open to unique ways of thinking, unique ideas. Because that's what you're here for. You're a consummate seeker of knowledge. It's like too much knowledge is not enough for you. And that's a good thing. See, it's one of those things where you got to watch it, because when it comes to relationships as an ace of clubs, sometimes you can throw yourself into relationships in that kind of a way where you sometimes let your guards down in relationships. So one of the things you got to learn as an ace of clubs is, get in your relationships, but don't get too far. Don't make up this grand old thing. Just allow it to come. You got to relax and allow it. Ace of clubs can oftentimes marry a person in their mind before that person even know that they like them. So when it comes to that may not be this person, but for ace of clubs out there, that's a general thing out there.
You know exactly what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, it's one of those things where I remember when I used to go to church, it was some person that went to the church. I was a drummer, and they came and told me, God told me I'm supposed to marry you. Jesus said, I'm going, and I looked at her and said, well, when is Jesus going to call me? He's on the main line. He didn't tell me that's what I want, but what can you say?
That's interesting. I have another one. You'll find this birthday interesting. This is from Richard Samuels.
My birthday.
Yes, that's what I said. I think you'll find this birthday interesting. You're born June the 17th.
He's born
So
June
he wants to know,
17th.
he's wondering what other numerology matches best for him in his case. That's what his question is.
He said, and he wants to know what I don't know how to answer what other numerology, but I can tell him what he is. He has a king of clubs.
Okay.
Yeah, just as a king of clubs, man, you wanna watch. One thing about the king of clubs is the know-it-all card, because you have the direct ability to channel. You can channel directly from source, but you gotta watch out walking along that line of knowing, like being a know-it-all. It's one thing to know a lot and see a lot. It's nothing to have that attitude, that pompous attitude that can sometimes rub people the wrong way. King of clubs, if caught too much in your ego, can be a little bit too abrasive, and you go from being a person of knowledge and teaching to being someone who's an authoritarian that people don't like being around. So that's something you got to watch out, because on the low side, you can be argumentative, domineering, bossy. So when you're feeling those things, when you're feeling rude, when you're feeling abusive and ruthless, understand that you're probably working in your ego at that point. You're on the low vibration. Like, we all have this battle back and forth between who we are
Yeah.
and this ego.
Yeah.
And so when I'm doing readings of people, I like to point out these things and say, okay, as a king of clubs, if you're feeling controlling and angry and complaining all the time, you're in your ego. When you're in yourself, when you're in alignment, you're organized, you're commanding. You're not demanding, you're commanding. It's a difference. You command the presence. You're masterful. You're hardworking. You're responsible. When you're in that vibration, that's how you know as a king of clubs, you're on the right path.
Gotcha.
And you also have a lot of drive. You make sure that whatever drive that you have, whatever it is that you think. One thing about the king clubs is you get what you want. And when I say get what you want, people, as a king clubs, you got to really understand what that means, because you got to check that subconscious. Sometimes that thing you keep getting something you hate it. But usually down deep inside, that's what you've been telling yourself that you deserve. So if it's something in your life that you're getting that you constantly don't want, I can help you get right down to what that is, so you can get that thing out of your subconscious and tell your subconscious what you truly want. Because if you tell your subconscious and your subconscious knows what you truly want, as a key in clubs, you will get it.
That shows you how powerful the mind is. Now,
Yes,
this
it
person
is.
here is Angelique Maria. She's born August the 26th of 1970.
August 26, 1970s. Oh, that's a King of Hearts. Heartbreaker. It's a woman. So she's probably very pretty as a King of Hearts. King of Hearts women tend to be very attractive. Um,
You know what's interesting? My mother was born on this birthday, and she was a very attractive woman coming up.
yeah,
That's interesting.
yeah. You said she was?
Yes, she
Yeah.
transitioned a couple
Yeah.
of days ago, but she was born August 26th.
Yeah. So the women are the King of Hearts women are very they're very usually pretty very pretty. She's an excellent leader as a King of Hearts. And with her being a woman King of Hearts, sometimes people can get intimidated. Like, who she thinks she is? She thinks she the boss? Yes, she is the boss, brother. Get over it. Um, you know, she has a lot of energy to push out. That they got to make sure that one thing you got to watch out for is your emotions. You got to you got to be ready to go on vacations and recharge yourself. King of Hearts people can deal with a lot of drama, but then deal with it fairly fast if you're doing things like going on vacations, activities that's going to help you get your mind right and clear those things out. That's very important because with you putting out so much emotion, you want to make sure your emotional space stays clear. You want to you want to take light showers. When I say light showers, I'm meaning, you do your meditation, your light meditations,
Hmm.
your things
Hmm.
that are going to uplift you. One thing I like to always talk about when it comes to, for me personally, a recommendation that I always give to people when it comes to ways of relaxing and meditating. Me personally, I use music. I use sound baths. Um, my sound bath is going to be some Alice Coltrane, some John Coltrane, some Miles Davis. It's going to be some George Duke. It's going to be some Earth and Fire.
Hmm.
Listen
Hmm.
to, especially Earth and Fire. Frankie Beverly and Mays with that high vibrational music. Barry White with those grand orchestral arrangements.
Hmm.
Turn
Hmm.
the music on, put your phone on do not disturb mode, and relax and flow. Allow the music to flow through you. That's why I always focus on music, especially from the 70s. R&B in the 70s all had string arrangements, and the string arrangements are the emotions of a song. They set the mood to make you feel. The singer doesn't ever have to say a word for you to know what the song, to know what a Marvin Gaye song is about, because that Leon Ware production, it just floats your emotions. And so when you use the music to relax and allow it to take you where you need to go, that sound bath will purify your aura and purify those things around you. Some Dizzy Gillespie, some Duke Ellington, and my favorite Count Basie. I mean, you listen to that. That's a recommendation intervention that I always give people, to really get into the music and allow it to flow through you, because especially as a King of Hearts, you're dealing with a lot of emotion, and cluttered up emotion will clog you and bog you down. That's with all of us, really. So you got to know how to relax. You got to find your path to knowing how to let that stuff go into the wind, so you can go back into relaxing and allowing life to work through you.
Good. This one here we have Stirrup Knowledge. They're born April 28th of
April
57.
28th.
Of
What year?
1957. 57.
April 28th. Oh, Six of Clubs. You here to bring some balance in your communication. The Six of Clubs, they here to, you're not gonna get too much by a Six of Clubs. Six of Clubs is a very calming influence, but they're also the person that they're almost like the referee. It could be a lot of stuff going on, you know, between two people. That Six of Clubs will walk up in there and get the story straight. You know what I mean? And what's going on, and settle things. You're almost an authoritarian, an authority when it comes to settling disputes. Um, you want to make sure that you're very meticulous with your words. You want to make sure that you use your words wisely, because as the Six of Clubs, your words matter. You got a way of saying things that hit home to people. And so you want to be responsible for that. You want to use it to uplift and not to. You can use it to be destructive if you want, but life would be a better place if our Six of Clubs people use their downloads and their ability to communicate to really harmonize, bring together, uplift.
But
That's
Dawn, wouldn't that be even more important now that Mercury is retrograde?
yes, it's my yeah. It's gonna be. I'm glad you
I
brought that
mean,
up.
that would make it even more imperative that she'd have to be conscious of what she says
Yes, because as a
and
Six
how
of
she says
Clubs,
it.
yeah, Six of Clubs, she can see through it, so she can deal with other people going through very challenging Mercury retrogrades and give them the positive, give them a good word, have a download, have something to say to them that's going to get them right back on the right path. But at the same time, you're right, use those words wisely because during this retrograde, how retrograde is, you can get frustrated, and when you get frustrated, you can cuss somebody out.
You can't take it back either.
You can't take it back. And as a
Oh,
Six of
yeah.
Clubs, as a Six of Clubs, what you say matters. So if you say something wayward during this time, you can really throw some daggers in somebody that's they're gonna have a hard time getting out.
What about this person? They want a reading for their brother, Elizabeth Mordaunt. Will you give a reading? My brother, May 13th of 1962.
May 13th. Oh, Six of Diamonds. You're all about values. Balancing karma is that Six of Diamonds. That Six of Diamonds, when that shows up, that means a score is here to be settled. You know what I mean? And I always say when it comes to things like karma, when it comes to your rewards, if I'm reading someone's life spread, what you put into it is what you get out. The
Mm,
level of the level of nonsense one put into their life, that's the level of karma they'll receive. The level of greatness they put into it, that's the level of karma they'll receive also. And there are varying degrees. You put out a little, you get a little. You put out a lot, you get a lot. And so, as a Six of Diamonds, they want to make sure that you stand peaceful. You in the right path. You're doing on the right straight and narrow. When you're about justice, when you're secure within yourself, when you're sympathetic to those around you, when you're peaceful. Now, when you're your ego, you can be very dominating and unforgiving and irresponsible and combative. And so, your brother is in their ego when they're being defensive, when they're being acting naive. So when they are in that energy, you might, sometimes you love your family, but you want to give them a little bit of space.
yeah,
Those
yeah,
are
yeah.
cues. Those right there are cues of what space your brother's in when you're dealing with them.
Okay, we're going to take this person here. G. Dolores Plants, December 19th, 56. She says, peace, everyone.
December 19th, Queen of Hearts. Oh, that's one of those rare cards. You don't see the Queen of Hearts come around too often in the deck.
Do you know what
Again, that
makes it rare when you say that, though? Why is that? Why is
because when you read the cards, scale,
hmm
each suite has a certain amount of days in it, and when you're dealing with your your cards, like say the hearts, they rule 52 birthdays out of the year, versus a club rules 133 birthdays out the year.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
interesting.
a diamond rules 131 birthdays out of the year, and the spade rules 49 birthdays out of the year. So
So
when you
spades and hearts have limited rulership over the days,
yeah,
where
those are
clubs
the
and diamonds tend to have the majority. That's what you're saying?
yep, because those are the babies and the adult and the elderly. The majority. If you think about it in life, the majority of people out there are past baby age, below elderly age. The
Sure.
bulk of people existing on Earth at one particular time in life. And it sort of matches when it comes to the cards. You know what I mean? And the hearts, those are cards that they're here to experience the emotion. They're here to show emotion, and now that Queen of Hearts is the mother. That's the highest love, the higher love. Like as a Queen of Hearts, you have the ability to empathize and have compassion almost beyond compare. You know what I mean? I'm sure that Queen of Hearts person, everyone, it may be one person in the family that's doing some degenerate stuff, and everyone's like, get away from them. They're not this, they're not that. That Queen of Hearts is going to find what need that the compassion, and they're going to see the empathy. They're going to see what's going on in the people that everyone else rejected. That Queen of Hearts can see something in that person and open up, and it's to the point to where other people around you don't get it. They're like, what's wrong with you? You crazy. They gonna do this, but you just got that motherly love that cannot, you can't. Who can explain the mother's love? Can you put that in words?
That's indescribable, really.
I'm just running my mouth at this point. You got the mother's love. But you see why so few of them out there, you know what I mean? With all the things that go on in earth, if everybody was like that, it would,
We wouldn't have all this drama out here.
Yeah. Yeah. So people like that are rare.
Wow.
Very rare.
Here's another one. This is Astrobusiness Cardology. They're born December the 6th of 1950.
1950?
Yeah.
December the 6th, 1950?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, another Queen of Clubs.
Really?
Yeah. These clubs are all over the place, And again, that's that you're dealing with a master teacher, and they're in the cardology, so I'm pretty sure they can teach and explain cardology, probably better than Robert Kemp, probably better than anybody who's ever done cardology as a Queen of Clubs. There's somebody who, whatever they're into, whatever they decide to talk about, they know how to break it down in a way that's digestible and it can explain and people can comprehend. And that's also a very motherly card too, that Queen of Clubs, and you see things mentally, it's mental. You have mental connections, and it's almost like when you see craziness on some levels, you can understand what it is. Now you may decide to accept or reject it. Not like my sister's a Queen of Clubs. She sees things, for what it is, but if she ain't dealing with you, she ain't dealing with you. And that, Queen of Clubs know how to protect themselves from nonsense.
That's simple. In other words, your sister saved herself a lot of wear and tear and drama. I take it, right?
Yeah. It's like you see it. It's like, yeah, I see it. Yeah, I'm motherly. Yeah, whatever. I need to protect my sanity. So get away from me, please.
Now, what about this person, Pamela Jones? She is born November the 25th of 56. A general reading, she says.
56?
Yes.
You said November 25th?
Yes, November 26, 56, yes.
I'm sorry, 25, 26?
The 25th. November 25th.
My bad.
Don't worry.
I must have a double helping of wax in my ears these days. Oh yeah, you're 8 of Hearts. You hear to balance things emotionally. You want to make sure that you balance yourself. When you're at your best, you're an authority. You're independent. You're a leader. You're also you also can be an extrovert and creative. And you can be the life of the party when you want to be. When you ain't feeling yourself, however, you can be very fixed and stubborn. You can be overbearing. You can be demanding. So when you're feeling inflexible, when you're feeling like that, understand that you're in your ego. Now it's time to woosah and meditate to get back to your high self. That's also the card of the playboy. You know what I mean? So if you're a woman, you can male or woman, you got charisma for days. Use it to your advantage. You can use that charisma to get what you want without having to use your body, without having to exploit yourself. You just got a certain charisma to where you can play along that line, finally get what you want and maintain your integrity. So I recommend when it comes time for you to do things and you want to make certain moves, if intuitively you're feeling like glamming it up and playing it up, do it. That's one of your superpowers.
I got one here that they want to know about their grandson. Their grandson is born October the 22nd of 2012. She wants to know what is her grandson's card.
October 22.
Yes, October 22nd, which is coming up next month, but born in the year 2012.
Oh, little man's a king of hearts. You got a little king on the deck. Um, he's going to be very responsible. So you want to make sure that as a youngster, you do things that is going to instill responsibility into him. Because as a king of hearts, that's he has a very high level of love about him, and you want to make sure that emotionally you have them pointed in the right direction. I always say this when it comes to children. One thing that's happened over the last 20 years with children, 30 years I've noticed, is adults are giving children less and less responsibility. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Let's give an iPad. I see adults washing the dishes and taking out the trash while their kids play with the PlayStation or whatever. Like, no.
maybe when they need to take out the trash.
Yes, you want to start making them feel have levels of responsibility now. Get them used to responsibility now. You know what I mean? When you go to the fast food place to order, pull up to the window and have them order themselves. Don't order for them. Make them pump the gas. You know what I mean? When it comes to when they have certain things going on, you want to make sure you ask them questions about and have them question things and get them being comfortable with making decisions and being a leader, because that king of hearts, you know, he's here to run a kingdom. And so you want to make sure you put him in leadership positions, make leadership fun, but at the same time, don't expect too much of them because they're still a kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
that fine line you got to walk, but make sure you continue to challenge them, because a leader, when they become adults, when they get to the point to where they are leading in their 20s and 30s as an adult, you want it to be something that they've been doing since childhood.
Listen, I know we at the hour. Can you stay just a little longer? Because first of all, I want to show how people can get in touch with you. You also
Yes,
authored a book, okay?
yes,
And so I just think it's interesting about how this works. In fact, this is it here. Dwann Brown. This is how you get in touch with him. Cardologer, author. Uh, he's on Instagram and Twitter under, as you see it there, Dwann B. And on Spotify, you got a Spotify program.
yes. Spotify is my music show, because I call myself a jack of a lot of trades, master at most. I got my 10,000 hours in a lot of different areas. You know what I mean? I've always been somebody who has to do 3 or 4 different things at once. I can't just do one thing. I get I've
Yeah,
been like that my whole life. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
So I'm a self-taught drummer, and I've been studying music my whole life and music history. And on Incense and Ashtrays, I talk about music. I have interviews with some of the great legends. I have an interview up with Mr. Bobby Rush right now, legendary blues guitarist.
yeah, yeah.
I have current artists that I'm interviewing, and I talk about music, how to use music, how to listen to music. I have a program that I run on Sundays where I do it live, music mixdown, the same way music was done back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, where you got to listen to music and the DJ explained the music, the
Yeah,
artist, where the song came from.
talk you
How,
through it.
yeah, I talk you through it. I give stories. I have a lot of family members and friends. I was lucky as a youngster, playing in the drums with people who used to play with Earth and Fire, people who used to play with Parliament. So I have so many stories that I have logged in my memory bank. And I call these people sometime and interview them to tell the real story behind the music. And that's what Incense and Ashtrays is about. And it's also about this T-shirt that I have on in my Black American music family tree. And
Hold
it
on,
says,
let me put you on full blast with that.
mm-hmm. This
Okay.
is this is a project that I put together. It's tracing 400 years of music created on this land and where it came from. Going back to the work songs. People don't know stand-up comedy and spoken word comes out of the same juke joint as rock and roll and the blues. And I point out how the blues and jazz, how it evolved into R&B, rock and roll, funk, P-funk, disco, hip hop, K-pop, and how our music, and on Instance Ashtrays, I get down and I really get down to the nitty gritty, and I explain the tree, and I talk about the evolution of music, where it comes from, who, name. I don't just say, "Hey, I'm a music historian." Believe me, I give you who, what, when, where, and why.
And you know what's interesting? People think country western music is no. The original music of America is jazz. It
It's
is our
jazz,
is our culture.
it's jazz, it's blues, and even
Yep,
country
all of
western.
it.
Country western is a derivative of the blues and jazz. Like you listen to Fats Domino talk. Fats Domino say, as a child, I thought I was playing country music. We called it country music. That was something that was later relabeled by people who
Yeah,
understood. You know
yeah,
how that go.
yeah,
They like
yeah,
to take our stuff and relabel it and say it's something else.
yeah.
So I made sure I
Repackage
make
it, but
that
it's
tree
the
because
same.
and I have an upcoming book, but I went through that tree first because tell the truth, my book is gonna be pretty long, and
Can
even
people
when
get
people
a
buy it,
copy
they
of
don't,
that tree?
huh?
Can people get a copy of that tree?
Yes, in CincinnatiTrace.com. You can get the T-shirt and the canvas, and you can also get the canvas and also the poster of it. And it goes into 18 by 24, and it's a teaching tool because at the end of the day, I can get the book, but most people aren't going to get to the end of the book when you write a book. So I started out with this because it's just all on one sheet, and you can see it all like
Yeah, visually. Yeah,
visually. Yeah,
they can
and I
nicely.
designed it in the black woman, in the shape of a black woman, because the woman is where we all come from. She births it all.
The last time I checked, that seems to be the origin of it. Okay. And one more thing too is also you have authored this book. Can you explain it?
Yes.
Tell it like it is.
Tell it like it is. The art of loving communication. That is me taking my years of working with families and children and adults that have communication issues and solving their issues. And it's a very short book. It's a reader. It's not that long. It's only 68 pages on the ebook and the Kindle. So it's not that long. And I made it that way so people can get right to what they need to get to. I break down the love languages, how to express your love in the language your partner can receive, how to listen to what your partner is saying, and what they're talking about, so you can give them what they want, how to talk to people. Because at the end of the day, we could talk about keeping the family together. We could talk about, hey, the black family needs to stay together. But let's tell the truth. Ain't nobody standing together with nobody that's talking to them like they got a tail between their legs. You have to talk to people with love and respect. But oftentimes, sometimes people don't know how to. You feel so emotional about things. You feel so passionate about things. You say it. And then once you say it, you realize, you see how it affected your partner or your child, and you realize, I didn't mean to do that.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
this book helps you work through that. And that's why I wrote it. And when it comes to my card reading services at you can book me at breakthroughas.org. I combine the two.
Hold on. Let me
Um,
put that banner up one more time so people know how to get to you. Right there.
yeah, they
Now,
can book
is
me
the
at
best way to do it?
breakthroughas.org.
Breakthroughas.org. Okay.
And I'm about to put my booking page also on Hotepish. But those are two places. That's where you can book me. And because I really break it down, and also um I'm also starting a series, a lecture series on my book. It's going to be in my Patreon, but if you don't want to be part of the Patreon, I will be selling them as standalone classes, and I'm going through each chapter of the book, and I'm going to go through withering detail of every chapter on how to implement what's in the book. So it's not only a book, I'm also teaching the book and step by step how to implement that. And those who are in my Patreon, if you do the live webinar, you'll be able to ask questions and it'll be interactive, so I can address your specific issues. Um, and if you're not part of the Patreon, I'll still sell the webinar after for each individual chapter. So you may be fine in listening, but you may be horrible at explaining, and so you can pick and choose which parts of the book you want more personal, detailed information in.
Okay. We'll just take about two more and then I'll let you go to your family and everything too. All righty. So we're going to take this person here, Cheryl Greer, June. You know what's interesting before we get to her? I don't think we called up a spade. Did anybody in this reading the entire time you've been on the show? Did we hear anything about a spade? It's mostly hearts, diamonds, and clubs.
Yeah, I don't think we've had any spades.
That's what's interesting. I
Yes.
just noticed that. Okay, what is she? Maybe she might be a spade since I brought it up.
Well, Whoa, what do you know? She's a two of spades.
See?
See? No, I take the back. No, I'm sorry. I had the wrong date in there.
Oh,
No, she's
yeah,
a
what is she?
my bad. She's June
June
25th.
25th, 61. Yeah,
Yeah,
June
no.
25th.
Five of clubs.
Clubs, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
we're right back on the clubs.
Yep, yep,
And those clubs. You always got to remember with your clubs, you're dealing with mental, you're dealing with communication, and so as a five of clubs, it can be very indecisive. It can be very hot and cold, mentally, and sometimes you can tend to outthink yourself. At the same time, very highly creative mentally and emotionally, but that emotional that mental creativity can lead to a certain level of anxiety, restless thinking. And it's also you can change your mind really easy. You can really be on something real strong, real heavy, and then look up the wind blowing in a different direction, then whoop, you over there. you
yeah,
know so
yeah,
the biggest thing for you is to make sure that you stay grounded, get your crystals, get your black tourmaline, get your black kyanite, your blue kyanite, and you ground yourself, and you make sure that you have a strong spiritual practice, so you know how to tune into yourself, so you listen to yourself the first time, really get in tune with yourself, because if you're not meditating, if you're not grounded, if you're not in tune, your mind could be whoop, 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 whoop. You see a butterfly, you somewhere else. You
yeah,
know.
yeah. So
So
let's take two more. This one here is Healing Goddess. Jocelyn is her name. She's born May 28th of 1987.
May 28th, 1987. Are you a four clubs? We still need clubs, aren't we?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
trying to put a spade up in here somewhere so people don't feel left out. We did diamonds, we did hearts, we did clubs. Well, now what is she now again?
Four clubs. Um,
And that's the mental.
yeah, that's still mental. One thing about the four clubs though, y'all be having things come at y'all out of left field. I mean, y'all, it's like the minute you own to something, and then it seemed like something else come up, and something else come up, and something else come up as a four clubs. One thing about the four club, you can thrive in that environment. It's like you can handle four clubs can handle 15 things on their plate, where some people need to do one thing. A four club has a lot going on, but because they're so intuitive and their mind is so structured, whatever it is going on, they can handle it.
You
Um,
I tell you this, I'm going to take one more because something occurred to me while you were talking. And I think what I'm going to do in the future is I would like to have Nina Diamond on, Nina Dunham. I call her Nina Diamond. I'd like to have Aquarius Maximus and you on the show at the same time.
wow, that'd be
That's be
crazy.
awesome. Now I know that's and I'm telling you, as you were talking, I'm saying, okay, I want to have you back. I want to have Nina on so she can meet you, and you meet her. And then, of
Mhm.
course, since you took Aquarius Maximus course, it'd be nice to be joining her too. So
It really
between the
would be.
three of you, it should be a monster show. So let's
It-
take this last one here. She is not Kilo Sweet, I think. I hope I'm saying it wrong, right? She's born March the 4th of 88. I swear, I'm still trying to get a spade up in here so they don't feel left out. But go ahead. What is she?
oh, here we go. We got a spade. Six of spades.
Okay, I did my job. I said, I
Remember that?
would like said, you left the spades out. Okay, now what about her? She's a six of spades. Six is about service, right? But in what
It's
way?
about service. It's about service. It's also about balancing energy, balancing, and that spade is spiritual. So, you're here to evolve spiritually. You want to make sure that you focus on the highest good. Because as a six of spades, where your focus is where it goes. And so you don't want to shortchange yourself. Six of spades, and I'm channeling this right now. Um, you want to make sure that you set your intention to what you really want. Oftentimes, We make deals with ourselves. What we really want is here, but we'll be like, I'll bargain with myself and I'll ask for this down here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
No, ask for, demand, like you deserve it all. If it crossed your mind, if it's a concept in your mind that is for you, it's for you. Don't outthink yourself and say it's too much or that's too high of a goal. That's you fooling yourself. You want to make sure that you go for it as a six of spades because
I
you
was
can
going to
get it.
say it's like you're reaching your, in other words, go for her maximal potential,
Go
and that's
for it.
what
And yes, and go for it with complete authority, complete faith, and complete knowledge that has already been done. It's like you already know that $15 million was in your bank account that you was thinking about, or whatever it is. You got to move forward as if it's already been done, and you will see it come to you. You'll pull that to you. You have a very powerful mind, very powerful. So you make sure that you focus. And one thing about you as as a six of spades, once you're locked in and focused, I look at six of spades people like when you see, like when you watch those nature programs and you see the alligator and it gets its prey, that
Mm-hmm.
thing don't let go.
Oh,
When that six of spades is focused, you ain't letting go. So make sure that you focus on exactly it is what you want, because you're going to grab that and bite that and you won't let go the same way you will with that bargain you making yourself. So don't go for the bargain, go for it all.
all right, good. Listen, I'm going to make some announcements about who's coming up this week and some other things I have, and then I'm coming back so you can end with words of wisdom because this has been interesting. I'm definitely going to have you back, but I think I'm going to have Nina Diamond, Aquarius Maximus, and the three of you get together, and it should be quite a show. Of course, I got to get their blessings, but I'm going to keep my fingers crossed. They say, yeah, let's do this, okay? And I'll let you know in plenty of time. In the meantime, I want to thank everybody, but let me let you know what is going on. Um, Again, this is Dwann's book to get. All right, you can get it at Amazon. It's called Tell It Like It Is, The Art of Love Communications. I do believe he has it that way as a subtitle. On Wednesday, I'm going to have hypnotherapists back on. uh, Kendall Cobb. I've got so many responses from her. That was incredible. I don't know what she did, but I met some lady in the street that heard my voice and she just bragged about this lady. So she'll be on this Wednesday. My course is on sale again. Notice they've raised the prices, folks. I tell you, you should get it while the getting is good, but this is all right. So this is still inexpensive, but uh, please take advantage of it. The sale ends tomorrow, but please sign up for all three courses. You own them, um, and you'll find it very beneficial. Also, please sign up for my free monthly newsletter for September. All righty. And so we'll see what's in your stars. Then next, we're gonna go into the um, fall for the month of October, what that pretends for the year. So anyway, though, but you can still get it. Just go to lloyd-strayhorn.com to sign up for the courses. That's lloyd-strayhorn.com to sign up for the courses. Also sign up for the free monthly newsletter. And I think the sale for these courses are over mañana, tomorrow. All righty. So working backwards again, Kendall Cobb will be on this Wednesday, all right, the 21st. And this is Dwann's book, Dwann Brown's book, okay? And as he says, it's a short page, 68 pages, which is interesting because that adds up to 14.5, which is your sign of Gemini. But, that's how my brain thinks, Dwann. So that's how that goes. So anyway, hold on, let me move this and let me get Dwann, I want to thank you very, very much. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, before we go, I want you to get the last word, family.
Yeah, I wanted to let people know that when it comes to the cardology or numerology or whatever, it is a roadmap for us to activate and do. Oftentimes, people take the spiritual systems as a conceptual thing, as something to talk about, as something to glorify and have these great debates about. But really, what it's for is application. Personally, I see we got King Simon in the chat room. I mean, my first reading from King Simon is I'm on what I'm living right now is me following through what some of the things King Simon put in my reading
Yeah,
about putting myself out there. He was like, you got to put yourself out there. And then I got a reading from you, Mr. Strayhorn, that confirmed it and it made it bigger. And I was just so like, no, I like being, even though I'm a king of clubs and I present well in front of people, I don't want to deal with nobody. I want to be in my hole. I don't want to do this, but the numbers told me where I needed to be, and I followed the path. So same thing with the card readings. The card readings are going to give you more insight to yourself. But at the end of the day, we all have to do the work. We all have to listen to what we listen to. When we listen to our man, Mr. Strayhorn, when we listen to King Simon, when we listen to Kendall's great. Oh my God, when it comes to clearing things out of your mind and getting mental hangups out the way,
that's why
Kendall,
she's coming on Wednesday. That's
oh my
exactly
God.
that.
I had talk therapy for years. I mean, Kendall was like getting a big old cinder block the size of one of those, the Egyptian pyramid, and she just boop. And I'm like, I've been trying to move that thing for 40 years. And Kendall just come in and boop. But it all works together if we
Yeah,
apply it.
yeah,
So we
yeah.
want to apply these things. We don't want to debate people. If people mentally aren't in the space to learn it or figure it out, let them go and use these sciences to uplift yourself, to give you greater knowledge of self, and to help those around you and help people around you. So I encourage you, if you really want to break down your relationships, where the issues are, how to solve them, hit me up. That's what I do. Like I'm really here to help. And the people here that are on this platform, I'm a regular watcher on this channel, although I'm very rarely in the chat room. I usually watch the playback. Everyone that you bring on is here to help. And if we can take from what they have to say and apply it to our daily lives and use it as application, we will win.
That
You
is
will win.
my goal and objective, Dwann. That's
Winning is
exactly
in your
my goal.
destiny. The only time winning is literally in your destiny. If you listen to the cues, follow the path, stay on the high side of what you know you need to be doing, you will reach the high side on the end.
Can't go wrong with that. Dwann from California, thank you. LA, of course. So I know when I come to LA, I can envision the more authentic side of LA. I'm going to give
Yes,
you a
yes,
call,
yes.
okay, for what you say. But this has been great, man. And thank you for raising our awareness and whatnot. And again, I'm going to have you back on. But as you, about two readings ago, it dawned on me, why don't I get you together with the mother, the daughter, and you? And between the three of you, that should be an awesome, awesome show.
And I'd love to have you on my YouTube channel too one day as an
Well, good.
interview.
You let me know. That's an open invitation. Okay,
Okay,
the door
definitely.
both ways. That's how we work. All right.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. So, Dwann, excuse me. I want to thank you very much, and for everybody, I want to thank you very much to all of my viewers. Please like, share, and subscribe. I did it. See, please like, please share, subscribe if you genuinely, feel that you find this informative and helpful and whatnot. And I gotta thank everybody very much who stayed through the entire show. But in the meantime, though, I want all of you to have a beautiful, beautiful day. And we will see each other 2 days from now. That is for sure.